Alright, here are 11 video editing workflow tips in Davinci Resolve that I use all the time and that you can start implementing right now to edit faster and more efficiently. So let's jump right in. So before you do anything else, I believe this is the most important thing for a good start into any project, and it's having an organized folder structure. Now you can do this to your own preferences, but I've got every project folder set up like this. I've got a render folder where I obviously render a finished video to, an A-roll folder for all my A-roll, a B-roll folder for all my B-roll, an audio folder that is divided into my microphone audio, sound effects audio, and music audio. Then I've got a graphics folder for things like logos, and because I make a lot of these YouTube videos, I've also got a thumbnail folder. Now, instead of having to create all these folders each and every time, I just have this folder template in my Finder, and whenever I start a new project, I just copy paste this and then change the name to the name of the project. And that way I just have a nicely organized folder structure ready to go. What's great is you can then actually transfer this nice folder structure straight into a Davinci Resolve project. So we're here in the edit page and I've got the media pool open right here. And in Mac Finder or Windows Explorer, you just select all your folders and then drag them into the sidebar on the top right and then drop it there. Now Davinci will keep your folder structure and keep the same name as in your operating system. So in a matter of seconds, you've got all your media imported and an organized bin structure ready to go. Now you need to make sure to drag and drop this into the sidebar and not into this larger area right here, because that will not save your nice folder structure and just dump all the files in there and basically create a big mess. Anyway, I think this is a great way to stay organized for every project, but just keep in mind that if you change anything in the folder structure in Finder or Explorer, those changes won't update within Davinci Resolve. This next tip will streamline your editing workflow by providing a consistent starting point with pre-organized folders, effects, and timelines for all your videos. Here's how you can create a custom project template. When you open up Resolve, select New Project and give it a name like Template. Next, open the project settings by clicking the cogwheel icon in the bottom right. Here you can adjust all your settings however you need them. You can set your frame rate, proxy settings, color management settings, and so on. Once you're done, just hit save. Then you can go ahead and make as many bins as you need for the media that you typically import into your project. I'm just going to import an empty folder structure from my Finder like we saw from before. And I'm also going to add a timelines bin. In there, I'm going to create a new timeline, and this is going to be my edit timeline. You can of course create as many timelines as you would usually need. Next, I'm going to set up this timeline the way I would typically need it for editing these types of YouTube videos. So there's usually about 4 video tracks for A-roll, B-roll, titles, and effects, and then 5 audio tracks for my voice, music, and sound effects. Next, I'll head over to the Fairlight page, and here I'm going to apply all the effects that I typically have on the appropriate tracks. Things like voice isolation, equalizer, compressor, and all that. Once I have everything set up the way I need it for every track, I'll head back over to the edit page. You can also create a custom title that you might use in all of your videos and put that into your timeline. So let's say you've got this kind of chapter title that you use on all of your videos and you've customized it exactly the way you like it. You can now have that ready to go in your template. Alright, now once you've done all this and everything is set up in your project the way you want it, make sure you save it by hitting Command or Control S. And now the next time when you open up Resolve, you'll see this template project is right here in your project manager window. Right click it and select Open in read-only mode. Once it's open, make sure you save it as its own project by going to File, Save Project As, and then name it to whatever the name of your project is. And right now you have your project completely set up and ready to go with the entire bin structure in place. You've got a timeline ready to go with all the video and audio tracks, plus that chapter title that you always use. And also in the Fairlight tab, you can see all the audio tracks are set up as well. If you've got a lot of footage that you need to go through and select different parts that you want to use, you don't want to do that in the edit page and look through every clip individually in your media pool, because that's just going to waste a lot of time. A better way of doing things is to head over to the cut page right here. Now select the folder where you've got all the footage you want to look through to make your selects. And from here, just click this icon right here, which is the source tape icon. And this is going to put all of the clips of that folder onto one big timeline right here in the viewer. That makes it way easier to see all of the footage that you're working with. Over here in the media pool section, I can click this sort icon and then choose how I want to sort all of these clips. So right now I have it set to date and time, but I can also choose clip name, for example, and it will sort everything like that. And it will also sort all the clips in that same order on this viewer timeline right here. So now I can scrub through all my footage really easily, and if there is a section I like and want to use, I just put my in point by hitting the shortcut I and my out point by hitting the shortcut O. Then right here I can choose whether I want to insert video only or audio only, or leave them unchecked if you want to simply insert both. And here you can also choose your different insert methods. So for example, smart insert, append, or ripple override. I usually use append for this kind of selecting, so I actually have a custom shortcut key for this. You can create this shortcut by going to the keyboard customization menu right here. Then search for append, and it's this one right here, append to end of timeline. I have it set to number 9 because it's right there where the I and the O on my keyboard are. You can see this is normally a shortcut for multicam cuts, but I don't use those anyway, so it doesn't matter. And with this method, it's super fast to look through a bunch of footage, select what I want, and insert that directly onto a timeline, which is a huge time saver. So I used that previous method a lot for creating what's called a selects timeline, which is basically a timeline with the specific snippets of all the footage that I want to use for my final edit. And this is especially great for bigger projects where you've got a lot of footage and maybe only 50% of it are actually good takes. What you can then do is quickly get those selected clips on your final edit timeline by using stacked timelines or pancake timelines. To set up stacked timelines, click this little icon right here and then choose Display Stacked Timelines. Now, at first, it might not look like anything has changed, but what it actually does is open this timeline tab area right here. You can either add new timelines by clicking this button right here, or just drag in existing ones from the media pool. When you click this button right here, it will add a timeline below it. You can stack as many timelines as you want, but I usually keep it to 2. The best part about a stacked timeline setup like this is that you can drag a clip from one timeline to another, and Resolve will copy that clip instead of moving it. So if you've got a selects timeline on top and a main edit timeline on the bottom, you can just drag a clip down to use it in your edit, and that clip is still going to stay up there in your selects timeline. Dragging clips up and down between timelines is way faster than digging through different bins looking for a specific clip. The next tips are going to make your life a lot easier when color grading. So let's say you've got a timeline like this one. All of the A-roll right here on track 1, a bunch of different B-roll clips on track 2, and adjustment clips for certain effects and things like that on track 3. If you go into the color page to do your grading, you're gonna see all of these clips next to each other, even the adjustment clips, which can be a little bit messy and annoying when color grading. Maybe I only want to work on my talking head shots first, or I want to get rid of these adjustment clips which don't need color grading anyway. One way to fix this is by opening the timeline view by clicking here. That will open this section right here, which is kind of like a mini view of your timeline. You can click each video track here and that will completely disable the track. But you can also hide the layer by holding Alt or Option and clicking the video track. That way you can, for example, disable all the other video tracks and Davinci will only show you those shots that you want to grade. You can also hide the track that has your adjustment clips. That way the adjustments will still be visible, but the color page just ignores that layer while you're doing your grading. Now there's also another way, which is great if you're working with a lot of mixed media footage, or for example footage with different lighting scenarios that require different grading. In the edit page, head over to your media pool and let's start with these talking head clips right here. I'll select all of these clips in my A-roll folder. Then I'll head over to my inspector window and go to File. And down here I can select a specific color for all these clips. And you can see if I, for example, select yellow, it will change the color of those clips on the timeline. I can now do the same for all the clips that I, for example, shot here in the studio, where I know that they were all shot with the same camera settings, the same lighting, and so on. So I know the grading is going to be the same. So let's make those blue, for example. And then I've got these clips that were shot outside, so I know that they are going to be the same color grade as well. I'm going to select those and change the color to pink. Now, if I head over to the color page, you can see in the clips section here, it's showing me all the clips of my timeline. But if I head over to clips right here on the top and click the little drop down arrow, you can go to clip color and then, for example, filter by yellow. You can see Davinci is now showing me only those yellow clips, which is all of my talking head footage. If I want to grade all of my studio shots, I'll go back to that drop-down menu, filter by blue, and now I'm only looking at my studio shots. And this just makes the color grading process way easier, more structured, and way faster. So I'm sure this is the case for most of you guys as well, but a lot of the projects that I edit rely heavily on B-roll. You know, additional footage that help visually tell the story. And one of the biggest things to help speed up your edits is having reliable B-roll ready whenever you need it. And that's actually where today's sponsor, Storyblocks, has kind of become like a secret weapon in my editing workflow. So let's say I want to tell you a little story about that classic moment when Resolve crashed right before I saved a new project. You know that feeling, right? Your stomach turns, you look at the screen in disbelief, maybe you stare outside the window on a rainy day like you're in a movie or something. Well, with Storyblocks, I can actually show you that emotion instead of just talking about it. Now, if you haven't used Storyblocks before, it's basically this giant creative toolbox with unlimited downloads of 4K footage, music, sound effects, motion graphics, LUTs, templates, and even images. The best thing is, it's all under one simple subscription without weird, complicated per asset fees. And you can also download as much as you want, experiment with all the different assets, and just keep what actually fits your edit. So if you want to get access to a huge library of high quality footage and assets you can grab whenever you need them, head over to storyblocks.com/sightseeing or click the link in the video description. Huge thanks to Storyblocks for supporting the channel and making videos like this one possible. The next tip is all about presets. Basically, if you're doing it more than twice, you save it as a preset. For example, the color grade I have in this talking head shot of me is always the same. And I want to reuse this exact grade for every project, but I obviously don't want to rebuild it from scratch every time. In the color page, if you click this little icon right here in the top left corner, it will open this side menu. And here you'll find a gallery folder named Power Grades. Now, if I right click on the preview here and then select Grab Still, you can see it has just appeared in this Power Grade gallery. I can rename it to, for example, Talking Head 2025. And now if I open up another project and head over to the Power Grade folder, the still is also going to be there. I can right click it, hit Apply Grade, and boom, my favorite color grade is done in seconds. And this Power Grade is now going to be available on all of my projects, older ones or new ones. And there's also a way to save presets for your entire audio settings. In the Fairlight section of Resolve, you can find an awesome feature called Configuration Presets. And this basically lets you save an entire audio setup for your timeline as a preset. So track layout, effects, track colors, you name it, you can save it and have it ready to go. And here's how you set it up. So right here in the Fairlight page, I've got my ideal audio setup in place. The mix is right, I've got all my effects set up on the right tracks, the tracks are labeled and organized, and everything is the way I want it. So I'm gonna head up to the Fairlight menu right here and open the presets library. From there, I'll go to Fairlight Configuration Presets. I'll hit Save New and give it a name like YouTube Video Preset. And right now I've got a custom audio template I can reuse anytime. So the next time I create a new timeline, I can just tick the Use Fairlight Preset box and select the one I just saved. Now all my tracks and settings show up automatically and there's no need to rebuild everything from scratch. And even if you forget to apply the preset at the beginning of creating a new timeline, you can still load it in later. Just head over to the Fairlight page, go back to the presets library and apply it right here. Now, if you're creating a lot of vertical content, and especially if you're using captions for that content, you need to be using caption presets to save time. Once you've generated your subtitles and customized your caption track, so set your font, your color, position, and everything else you want to do, you can actually save this as a preset. Just click these three dots here on the top and select Save Track as Preset. Give it a name like YouTube Shorts Captions and click OK. Now, the next time you create subtitles, all you need to do is go up to the track section, click the three dots, select your preset, and select Load Preset, and it will automatically apply your saved settings, which is going to save you a ton of time. So if you're anything like me, you probably have a few effects that you tend to use on nearly every project, right? Well, you might be wasting a ton of time by searching and scrolling for those same effects each and every time. So if you look at the sidebar of the effects panel right here, you can see that there is a favorites folder right here at the bottom. To save your favorite effects, you simply click the little star icon right here next to the effect, and that will put them in the favorites folder. To remove an effect from the favorites folder, you just click the star icon again. I, for example, have the adjustment clip in there because I use that all the time. I also have a drop shadow effect and the magic zoom effect from Mr. Alex Tech. So now, without wasting time searching in all the different effect folders, with just one click, I've got my favorite effects ready to go. You can also create a similar favorites folder for custom effects or titles that you tend to use over and over by using the power bins. If you head over to your media pool right here in the edit page, you can see you've got your regular project bins right here, and you'll probably also see these smart bins at the bottom. To see your power bins, click the three dots in the top right of the media pool right here, and then activate Show Power Bins. And now if you drag your media that you want to use across multiple projects into these bins, they will be available in all of your projects. You can add anything from logos to sound effects to music and so on. So instead of always having to import this media over and over again in every new project, you can now use power bins. But you can also use these power bins to save custom effects or titles. For example, I sometimes do this little zoom in effect on my talking headshot if I want to emphasize a point or anything like that. And I do that by adding an adjustment clip and then adding the magic zoom effect from Mr. Alex Tech. Then I do all my adjustments in there to make it right. Now, instead of doing this each and every time, I can drag this adjustment clip to my power bins, and then I will have that zoom effect customized and ready to go on all of my projects, future, past, or present. I can also do this for any titles I use. So like we saw in our second tip of the video, we've got this custom chapters title that we use on nearly every video. Well, I'll just drag that to the power bins, and now I've got that title customized exactly the way I want it, ready to go for every project. An important thing to note here is that when you save actual files like logos or music and you move or delete the source file from whatever folder it is in on your computer or hard drive, it will show as missing in the power bins. So I suggest having a specific folder on your computer unrelated to a project that you don't move where you save those assets. For effects and titles, this won't matter as they are embedded in Resolve anyway. Now, one thing that can seriously slow down your editing workflow is when Davinci becomes a bit laggy and Playback feels choppy. So here are a few ways to fix that. First off, you can use proxies. These are lightweight, low-resolution copies of your original media. Head over to your project settings by clicking the cogwheel at the bottom here. In the master settings, go down to Optimized Media and Render Cache. Then I suggest setting the proxy media resolution to either half or quarter, depending on how fast your computer is. Set the proxy media format to ProRes 422 Proxy or LT if you're using a Mac. For Windows, select either DNxHRLB or SQ. Next, you need to generate these proxies by selecting your clips in the media pool. Right-click and choose Generate Proxy Media. Resolve automatically links the proxies to your clips, and you can activate them by going to your viewer and clicking this icon on the top right here, and then select Prefer Proxies. You'll see that on your timeline, this little pink proxy icon has appeared on the clips where you just generated proxies for. Now, I know not everyone is a huge fan of generating proxies. I am, for one of those people. So another quick way to fix laggy playback is by adjusting the playback resolution. You can do that under Playback, Timeline Playback Resolution, and then select half or quarter. This will lower the resolution in the viewer, so you're able to get much smoother playback and still see your projects with all the effects and grading. Another feature you can use for smooth playback is Smart Render Cache. Instead of creating full proxy files, the Smart Cache pre-renders the parts of your timeline that are hardest for your computer to play back. Things like heavy color grades, fusion effects, or multiple layers. Resolve quietly renders those sections in the background, so when you hit play, everything runs smoothly. To turn it on, go to Playback, Render Cache, and select Smart. You'll see red bars appear on the timeline, and they will gradually turn blue as Resolve finishes rendering. Blue means cached and ready for smooth playback. All right, once you're ready to export your project, there's a great way to save time with your render settings. In the delivery page, you can actually create your own presets for different export purposes. If you have a look right here, I have one for YouTube videos, one for YouTube Shorts, and one for quick test exports. And here's how to make them. Make sure you have all of your export settings the way you need them for a specific purpose. So right now I have this set up for YouTube Shorts. So MP4 H.265, vertical HD resolution, 25 frames per second. My audio is set up, and I also have subtitles set to export and burn into video. Now I'll click the three dots here and select Save as New Preset. I can name the preset to something like Shorts and choose an icon right here. So whenever I'm exporting a new video, I can just load these settings instantly and not have to set up everything each and every time. And there's even a faster way of exporting. If you click these three dots right here again, then add your preset to quick exports, you can even export your video with this preset directly from the edit page. All right, if you want to learn even more tips and tricks for Davinci Resolve, check out this playlist right here. I've got a bunch of videos teaching you all about editing smarter in Resolve. Anyway, that's it for this one. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.